Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the intriguing possibility of Morgan Corinthos making a dramatic comeback to the show, stirring up excitement among fans and sparking conversations about his potential return from the grave. In the ever-twisting world of soap operas, where death is rarely the final curtain call, the story of Morgan Corinthos stands as a prime example of how characters can defy the odds and re-emerge in surprising ways. Back in 2016, viewers watched in shock as Morgan met what seemed like an irreversible end in a tragic car explosion, leaving his family, particularly his powerful father, Sonny Corinthos, and devoted mother, Carly Spencer, devastated and forever changed. This heartbreaking event not only shattered the Corinthos clan, but also left a void in Port Charles that has lingered for years, influencing storylines involving mental health struggles, family rivalries, and unresolved grief. Yet, as any dedicated General Hospital fan knows, the soap's history is riddled with miraculous resurrections. From characters like Jason Morgan rising from presumed watery graves to others faking their deaths for elaborate schemes. Inventing a fresh twist, perhaps Morgan could return with a storyline involving amnesia or a secret twin, adding layers of mystery and emotional depth to the ongoing narratives. This tradition keeps audiences hooked, reminding us that in Port Charles, no one stays buried for long, and Morgan's potential revival could reignite old flames and create new alliances, much like past comebacks that have boosted ratings and fan engagement. Adding fuel to these resurrection rumors is none other than Bryan Craig, the talented actor who brought Morgan to life with his charismatic and intense portrayal. Lately, Craig has been incredibly active on social media, turning his platforms into a virtual campaign headquarters for Morgan's return. He's shared thoughtful posts, engaging polls, and cryptic hints that have the fanbase buzzing with anticipation. For instance, in one inventive poll, he asked followers to imagine how Morgan might re-enter the scene, perhaps as a reformed anti-hero or with ties to a new underground plot, drawing thousands of responses that showcased the character's enduring popularity. These interactions aren't just casual, they reflect Craig's genuine passion for the role, which he played from 2013 to 2016, earning him a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Younger Actor in 2016. By weaving in personal anecdotes from his time on set, like memorable scenes with co-stars Morris Bernard, Sonny, and Laura Wright Carly, Craig has cleverly reminded everyone of the chemistry that made Morgan a standout. His efforts highlight how actors can influence story directions in modern television, blending real-life enthusiasm with fictional possibilities. And it's clear this isn't mere nostalgia, it's a strategic push that could sway the show's decision-makers. The latest bombshell came in the early morning hours of Monday, August 4th, when Craig took to the social media platform X to drop a message that has everyone talking. In his heartfelt caption, he expressed deep gratitude to the loyal General Hospital fans and even the tabloid press for their unwavering support and coverage of his return ideas. He didn't stop there. Craig boldly tagged key players in the mix, including ABC Casting, the ABC Network, and the show's executive producer, Frank Valentini, essentially putting them on notice in a public forum. This direct approach is like a plot twist straight out of a GH episode, bold, unexpected, and full of drama. To elaborate, imagine the ripple effects. Fans flooded the comments with enthusiastic endorsements, some sharing fan art of Morgan's imagined comeback scenes, while others speculated on how this could tie into current arcs like Sonny's mob troubles or Carly's romantic entanglements. Craig's post wasn't aggressive, but rather a polite yet pointed plea, emphasizing that the ball is now in the network's court. This kind of transparency is rare in the entertainment industry, where negotiations usually happen behind closed doors. But it underscores Craig's commitment and could pressure the producers to consider fan sentiment in their planning sessions. Not content with just one platform, Craig amplified his message by reposting it on his Instagram stories, ensuring it reached an even wider audience of soap enthusiasts. Here, he cleverly included a screenshot from a recent Yahoo article that highlighted a fan poll he had conducted earlier, where an overwhelming 95% of participants voted in favor of Morgan's return. This statistic isn't just a number, it's a testament to the character's lasting impact. With fans reminiscing about Morgan's bipolar disorder storyline that brought awareness to mental health issues in a sensitive, relatable way. To add more depth, let's consider invented voter breakdowns. Perhaps 60% of yes votes came from longtime viewers who missed the Corinthos family dynamics, while 35% were newer fans drawn in by Craig's social media charisma. The poll's results have sparked online forums and fan groups to organize petitions, complete with detailed plot suggestions like Morgan returning with a vendetta against old enemies or forging a bond with a long-lost relative. By tagging the same influential handle, Seb Casting, ABC Network, and Frank Valentina, Craig is doubling down on his call to action, making it hard for the powers that be to ignore the groundswell of support. This multi-platform strategy shows savvy marketing, blending actor advocacy with audience participation. And it raises intriguing questions about how social media might shape future casting decisions in daytime TV. What makes this campaign even more fascinating is its unconventional nature. Actors don't typically launch public drives for role revivals, yet Craig's method feels organic and fan-driven. Historically, soap comebacks often stem from behind-the-scenes deals, but here Craig is flipping the script by involving the audience directly, much like how celebrities use social media for career pivots in other genres. To invent a new element, picture Craig hosting live Q&A sessions where he teases potential storylines, such as Morgan crossing paths with current characters like Ava Jerome in a high-stakes art heist, or helping Nina Reeves navigate her complicated family ties. This approach could inspire other actors to follow suit, democratizing the revival process. Moreover, Craig's relationship with General Hospital appears amicable, evidenced by his guest appearance last summer when he reprised Morgan as a ghostly apparition in a poignant episode that provided closure for Ava and touched on themes of forgiveness and legacy. That cameo, which aired to critical acclaim and boosted viewership, proved Craig's enduring appeal and set the stage for a full-fledged return. It was a clever nod to soap tropes, where spirits guide the living, and it left doors open for more substantial involvement, perhaps evolving from spectral visits to a flesh and blood resurrection. As we ponder the future, the big question remains, could Bryan Craig truly step back into Morgan's shoes, bringing fresh energy to Port Charles? The fan polls and social media frenzy suggest a resounding yes, with invented scenarios envisioning Morgan's return sparking epic confrontations, like a showdown with his brother Michael, or a romantic rekindling with Kiki Jerome's memory through new characters. Ultimately, it hinges on ABC and the producers weighing the creative potential against logistical realities. But one thing is certain, buzz is building, and it could lead to one of the most anticipated comebacks in GH history. Would you like to see Morgan and Craig make a triumphant return to the show? Next, we will learn about the ongoing frustrations surrounding the sluggish adoption storyline involving Giovanni Gio Palmieri in Port Charles, and why fans are calling for a much-needed shakeup to keep the drama alive. In the bustling yet increasingly stagnant world of Port Charles, the once promising revelation that Giovanni Gio Palmieri is actually the long-lost son Brooklyn Quartermain gave up for adoption has morphed into a drawn-out ordeal that's testing even the most loyal viewers' endurance. Unveiled back in May 2025 amid high-stakes family secrets and emotional upheavals, this plot twist initially promised layers of intrigue, exploring themes of hidden pregnancies, parental regrets, and rediscovered bonds. However, months later, the narrative has ground to a halt, bogged down by endless cycles of Brooklyn's tearful remorse over her past decisions. Dante Falconderi's persistent but fruitless efforts to bridge the gap with his newfound son, and Gio's simmering resentment toward his biological parents. Fans venting on platforms like Facebook have pointed out the glaring gaps, such as the underwhelming exploration of Gio's complex emotions toward his adoptive mother, Camilla Palmieri, who raised him with love in Bensonhurst, or his biological grandmother Lois Cerullo, whose vibrant personality could add a fresh dynamic to his journey. Inventing a potential new angle, perhaps Gio could stumble upon old letters from Camilla that reveal her own sacrifices, humanizing her role and shifting his anger into understanding. thereby injecting much-needed depth. Moreover, the storyline's logic falters in portraying Gio's ire toward Dante, who was completely unaware of the pregnancy, making his grudges feel forced and unconvincing. With the initial build-up now fading into repetition, audiences are left wondering if a bold new development like an unexpected family alliance or a shocking paternity twist could salvage this arc before it completely loses its momentum and risks being overshadowed by more dynamic plots in General Hospital's ever-evolving tapestry. The growing restlessness among the fanbase is palpable, as the explosive May 2025 bombshell about Gio's true parentage, which sent shockwaves through the Quartermaine and Falconeri families, has devolved into a monotonous loop of sorrow and outbursts that's failing to hold attention. Social media hubs, especially Facebook groups dedicated to GH discussions, are filled with complaints about how Brooke Lynn's perpetual grief over not knowing her son during his formative years and Gio's explosive fury at her years of secrecy play out like broken records. With little variation or forward movement, viewers are clamoring for a revitalizing spark, such as scenes where Gio forms a tentative bond with his grandmother Lois Cerullo, whose no-nonsense Brooklyn attitude might offer him the tough love he needs to process his identity crisis, or even a deep dive into hidden truths about Camilla Palmieri, perhaps uncovering that she knew about the adoption all along and chose to protect Gio from the chaos of Port Charles life. To add inventive flair, imagine a subplot where Gio discovers a family heirloom from the Quartermaines that connects him to his heritage, prompting reflective moments that break the cycle of tantrums. The community is split down the middle. Some optimistic fans believe a clever rewrite could breathe new life into the saga, envisioning Gio's growth through therapy sessions or unexpected friendships, while skeptics fear it's already sputtering toward an unsatisfying conclusion, potentially alienating viewers who tuned in for the high drama. This division highlights the high stakes for the show's writers, as sustaining interest in such personal family stories requires constant innovation to avoid the pitfalls of predictability. Dante Falconeri's repeated attempts to connect with Gio have become a source of mounting frustration, emblemized intense encounters at familiar Port Charles spots like the opulent Quartermaine mansion or the lively Metro Court pool, where heartfelt pleas often end in rejection. Picture a charged moment where Dante, drawing on his detective instincts and paternal instincts, approaches Gio with olive branches of shared interests like bonding over music or sports, only to be met with a steely glare and an abrupt exit, leaving both characters and audiences exasperated. Honestly, the fanbase is weary of this endless merry-go-round of failed dialogues, where Dante's reasonable explanations about the circumstances of the adoption fall on deaf ears, and Gio's defensiveness blocks any real progress. Yearning for a pivotal game-changer, such as an external event like a family crisis that forces Gio to rely on Dante, or perhaps a mediator figure stepping in to facilitate honest conversations, viewers are vocal about their impatience. To invent a fresh element, consider a scenario where Dante uncovers a forgotten journal from Brooke Lynn's past that sheds light on her youthful fears, providing Gio with tangible evidence of her love and potentially thawing his resistance. The truth resonates that while Dante advocates for patience, allowing the reconciliation to unfold at its own pace, the prolonged waiting game is wearing thin on everyone involved, including the characters themselves who seem trapped in emotional limbo. Tracy Quartermaine, with her sharp wit and no-holds-barred advice, might intervene by urging Brooke Lynn to take decisive action, like organizing a family intervention or revealing more about the adoption's backstory. But without a genuine catalyst, this thread risks stalling indefinitely. The burning question lingers, will Dante finally shatter the barriers, or is this familial standoff doomed to remain in a frustrating neutral gear, leaving fans disengaged? As General Hospital continues to dwell on the intricacies of Gio's adoption drama, the collective plea from fans is for an electrifying plot twist to recapture the intense anticipation that built up in the lead-up to the reveal, though it's worth noting that not every viewer was thrilled with how the bombshell landed, citing inconsistencies in character histories. The repetitive focus on Brooke Lynn and Dante's anguished attempts to move beyond the initial shock has created a sense of narrative fatigue, prompting calls for dynamic shifts that propel the story forward. Enthusiasts are begging for tangible action, such as Gio actively confronting elements of his past made by traveling back to Bensonhurst to seek closure with Camilla's friends, or delving into records that expose new family secrets, or introducing a new ally, like a sympathetic cousin from the Quartermain side who helps him navigate his dual identities. Inventing an exciting possibility, envision a crossover event where Gio teams up with a character from another storyline. Perhaps aiding in a hospital emergency that showcases his violin talents in a therapeutic way, fostering organic growth and connections. Will this arc manage to roar back to life with renewed vigor, incorporating fan-suggested elements like surprise revelations or heartfelt reconciliations? Or is the faint sizzle we're detecting merely the last embers of a storyline that's burning out before our eyes? The fans' impassioned feedback underscores the need for the writers to heed these cries, ensuring that Gio's journey evolves into something compelling rather than fading into the background of Port Charles' more vibrant tales. Next, we will learn about the tantalizing mystery surrounding Britt Westburn's potential return from the dead, and the shadowy figures who might be holding her captive in the shadowy underbelly of Port Charles. In the unpredictable realm of General Hospital, where presumed deaths often mask elaborate kidnappings and hidden agendas, the enigmatic case of Britt Westburn exemplifies how characters can vanish only to resurface under duress, their fates intertwined with powerful captors. Typically, these dramatic comebacks involve some form of imprisonment, whether in remote islands or secret labs, keeping fan-favorite personalities off the canvas until the perfect plot twist demands their revival. For Britt, whose apparent demise left a trail of unanswered questions about her final schemes and alliances, speculation is rife that she's been ensnared in a web of captivity, possibly orchestrated by someone with deep ties to her past. This setup not only heightens the suspense, but also opens doors for exploring her complex history as a brilliant doctor with a penchant for moral ambiguity. Inventing a fresh layer, perhaps her captivity includes forced experiments in a clandestine facility, where she's compelled to use her medical expertise against her will, adding a chilling element of coercion to her storyline. The burning question echoes through fan discussions: who exactly is behind her disappearance, pulling the strings from the shadows and preventing her from reclaiming her life in Port Charles? This scenario aligns with the soap's tradition of captivity plots, like those involving iconic villains who hoard secrets and hostages alike, ensuring that Britt's return could explode with revelations about loyalties, betrayals, and unfinished business. Delving deeper into the intrigue, Britt's situation appears linked to the cryptic endeavors of Professor Dalton, whose ambiguous projects have sparked endless theories among viewers eager for clarity. While the exact nature of their collaboration remains shrouded in mystery, hints suggest they might be pioneering a groundbreaking cure for Huntington's disease, a personal crusade that could tie into Britt's own genetic vulnerabilities inherited from her notorious family. But the real puzzle lies in her involvement. Is she a willing participant, driven by scientific passion and a desire to atone for past misdeeds? Or is she an unwilling pawn, trapped in a high-tech prison disguised as a research hub? Complicating matters is the elusive man she was overheard conversing with on a secretive phone call, a figure who exudes authority and seems to dictate her every move, much like a puppet master in one of Port Charles' most convoluted schemes. To invent an exciting new detail, envision this man providing her with rare medical artifacts or encrypted files that hint at a larger conspiracy, perhaps involving stolen formulas from the WSB, forcing Britt to weigh her freedom against ethical dilemmas. Some fans theorize this overseer could be her infamous father, Caesar Faison, the mastermind criminal whose evil legacy looms large, yet his confirmed death makes such a resurrection improbable, as reviving both father and daughter simultaneously might strain even GH's flexible boundaries of believability. Instead, suspicions lean toward a member of the sprawling Casadini dynasty, renowned for their affinity for abducting and manipulating the denizens of Port Charles in pursuit of their grandiose ambitions, making them prime suspects in this captivity narrative. With the Casadini family tree branching out in countless directions, each member presents a viable candidate for the role of Britt's captor, given their storied history of elaborate hostage situations that keep the soap's drama perpetually simmering. The sheer volume of Kassadin's both living and presumed deceased offers a buffet of possibilities, but narrowing it down requires considering who's realistically available for such a plot. For instance, the legendary Helena Kassadini, portrayed memorably by Constance Towers, seems an unlikely choice for a comeback, as the actress's advanced age and retirement hints suggest she won't reprise the role, though a recast could theoretically happen. However, no one could capture Helena's icy menace quite like Towers, potentially diminishing the character's impact. Similarly, Victor Cassadini met a definitive end, making his simultaneous revival alongside Brit a stretch that might overwhelm the show's resurrection quota. Inventing a novel twist, perhaps a holographic message from Victor's past could influence events from beyond the grave, guiding a proxy in his stead without a full return. This abundance of options underscores the Kassadin's enduring role as GH's go-to antagonists, whose penchant for captivity has ensnared everyone from heroes to anti-heroes, ensuring that Brit's predicament fits seamlessly into their legacy of intrigue and isolation. Among the more probable Kassadini culprits, Valentin stands out as a compelling option, his fan-favorite status and cunning intellect making him a perfect architect for Brit's confinement. Currently languishing in prison for his myriad crimes, Valentin's situation is far from permanent in the fluid world of Port Charles, where escapes, paroles, or covert releases happen with alarming frequency, often facilitated by shadowy alliances or bribes. He could have orchestrated Brit's captivity from behind bars, using his vast resources to fund Dalton's research while holding her as leverage for some undisclosed gain, perhaps tied to his own vendettas against the Corinthos family. Another fan-desired possibility is Spencer Cassadini, who would require a recast following his watery demise. But his prior war rapport with Brit, marked by playful banter and mutual respect, could evolve into a partnership focused on the Huntington's cure, blending captivity with collaboration in a morally gray alliance. To add an inventive element, imagine Spencer faking his death to go underground, recruiting Brit for a secret mission that involves decoding ancient Kassadini relics with medicinal properties, turning her captivity into a reluctant adventure. Then there's Nicholas Kassadini, whose recent disappearances and resurrections make him a wild card. His brooding presence and history of possessive behaviors could explain him detaining Brit in a bid to control the cure's outcome for personal power. Each of these figures brings unique motivations, from redemption arcs to power grabs, heightening the anticipation for who will ultimately be unmasked as the mystery man. Venturing beyond the core Kassadines, the enigmatic Jen Sidwell emerges as an intriguing outsider with potential ties that could redefine family boundaries in Port Charles. Though not officially a Kassadini by blood, subtle clues point to a deeper connection, such as his occupation of the foreboding Windermere estate, a Kassadini stronghold steeped in Gothic secrets and hidden passages ideal for holding captives like Brit. His peculiar obsession with Alexis Davis, manifested through cryptic interactions and an unexplained fascination with a ceremonial dagger that echoes Kassadini artifacts, suggests intertwined lineage, perhaps a long-buried relation through illicit affairs or forgotten adoptions. Inventing a captivating new detail, Sidwell might possess a hidden journal detailing a Kassadini-Sidwell merger via a past marriage, explaining his access to family resources and his interest in medical breakthroughs like the Huntington's research, which could benefit his own undisclosed ailments. This affiliation would expand the Kassadini web, introducing fresh conflicts and alliances, such as Sidwell using Brit's expertise to unlock dagger-related mysteries that hold cures or curses. As the speculation swirls, fans are left to debate, who do you believe is the shadowy mystery man orchestrating Brit's fate? And how might his reveal reshape the landscapes of power and redemption in General Hospital?